Hello, everybody. Welcome to Base Marine Comics. I am Jeroen, Base Marine. Uh, together with Marinus from Darksiders Comics, and we're talking today with Matt, the creator of Kyrie.
Is it Kyrie or Kyrie, by the way?
I say Kyrie, but it's all
Kyrie, that was it. Yeah, okay.
Kyrie. Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, I pronounced it just as I read it. So, but yeah. Can you tell us a little bit of where the idea of Kyrie came from? Because it's not something you see everywhere in comics or something like that. It's kind of a unique story.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a fun, it's an interesting time period that I think people recognize. They understand ancient Rome, but I think people are used to that happening in Italy or something like that. So I thought if I could take a different setting approach and maybe combine my interest in Westerns and the Near East and North Africa, it would be kind of a fresh spin on that. And it also, if you take that kind of setting, you can kind of delve into what was even antique by their times, which, like ancient Egypt and stuff like that. So it's a fertile ground for artifact hunting and adventure, sword and sandal kind of stuff. So that was kind of my approach. Take something that people recognize, but put it in a new setting.
Yeah, it's a very unique idea that you don't really see in most comics. So that was really interesting for us.
Yeah,
and like you say,
Can I interrupt a bit? Can you turn off the volume of your device? Is
it too quiet?
A little bit, yes.
Does this help at all? Hopefully.
Well, try to speak.
Yeah. Is this testing?
Jeroen, did you notice the change?
Not much, but
let me try something.
Sure.
Okay.
How is this? Oh, way better.
Yeah, that's way better.
Great. I'll do it without my video, but I can do better audio, which is probably the most important part. Yeah. So I just I grew up. I did live overseas a bit. Growing up as a kid, I lived in New Zealand for a little while, and I had we visited Denmark a lot, and I grew up on Asterix and Tintin and things of that sort. So comics to me was more European, with adventure comics and globe trekking, and with mixed in with history and spies and uncovering conspiracies and stopping world, like all these kind of things that you're used to reading in European comics that are really kind of global, I guess. I think it's funny, like coming back to America as a kid after living overseas, I was kind of like, I guess Spawn is okay, like he's cool, but it was hard for me to be the only person who was interested in the stuff that I had been exposed to. So I did kind of drop off from comics for a number of years until till college, when I realized I was studying storyboarding, and I wanted to go into that. And I realized, it's a lot like comics in a lot of ways. And I had friends that were into manga, and this was the mid 2000s to late 2000s when there were a lot of anthologies that were coming out in the US and in Canada, and a lot of people were getting interested in short stories, and people from storyboarding and other industries were coming in and doing little like 12-page stories and putting together a big book of all these weird, wild short stories that some were pretty out there, kind of like heavy metal kind of influence, which I realized later, of just not your typical, not superhero stuff. So then I realized, like, American comics can be anything of course, it can be anything that novels are. You know, it can be mystery, thriller, romance, adventure, horror. It doesn't have to be
Only superheroes.
superheroes, of course.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's kind of what happened to me.
it's great to hear because when I think of Americans, well, it sounds maybe a little bit biased, but I always thought, people in America grew up with only American comics like the superheroes because they're
Yeah.
very big and more normal. And while we have, like you said, we have Asterix, we have Storm, we have Tintin, etc., and a lot of Italian and Belgium and French comics as well. Yeah, so it's great to see that. Well, I was a little bit surprised because when I saw your campaign and Jeroen here, he said, you have to watch this page of Kyrie, and I saw a little bit when I go through Indiegogo, and I wasn't sure if it wasn't for me, but then I
Sure.
watched the video and watched the other videos that you have done before with I saw a video that you have just get part 1 from the printer and that you go through the book, and that it had a very European feel for me. So it took me back a little bit from where I grew up with all those comic books, right? So and then I decided to back it, and it's a steal for us anyway. It's when it comes to price, but there's a lot of detail as well. I'm just going through the page because I was surprised how much different your book is so much from the other things that is here in Indiegogo, and also as well
Sure.
on the American market, because when it comes to the cover, there's so much detail in here. It could be your covers could be framed, like it has some boundaries along them with ancient text and runes and backgrounds and color schemes that I really liked. Also with your book too as well, that you can see the Sahara and the pyramids on the background. I haven't seen that. I just discovered that a little bit later when I explored your campaign a little bit better. So that's great. Absolutely.
That's a huge encouragement. Thank you, because it's a love letter to the same sort of comics that you and I both grew up with, but trying to think about how to do that today, maybe for an audience that Americans could, maybe where some Americans could kind of find it and say, I don't know, maybe open their eyes a little bit to more of the variety that you can explore, because I think part of my writing style might be a little closer to what Americans expect, maybe with less dialogue and things of the sort. But just trying to bridge those sort of gaps, because it is funny. Like, we always have had an indie scene here that, I guess maybe in the 70s and 80s it was kind of big, but it did kind of die down. And I can't think of another country where there's kind of two markets at the same time that don't really overlap at all. Like, you can go into a comic book shop here and you will pretty much only see Marvel and DC. And you can go anywhere else. You can go to Belgium, you can go to Brazil, you can go to Japan, and you're going to see every kind of genre. You might see some Marvel, DC, but it's not a huge surprise if you just see, I don't know, Watchmen and a couple other things, but most of it is anthologies and trade paperbacks of just big volumes of things from all over the place,
They also do probably the same model that you are doing now with crowdfunding, because most European comics takes a lot of while to make, especially with beautiful art and hardcover editions as well. They take a lot, maybe a half year till a couple of years. So when I was collecting Storm by, why am I forgetting his name? Don Lawrence. He took years to make a comic, but his art is also exceptional. Yeah, and that is what I like as well. It's something that when the next chapter is coming out, it's something special. It's when it comes to American comics. For me, there was a time when I was younger. It was more like fast food. I just wanted to eat it, and then I want to wait the next one over a month, and then I'm gonna eat that quote unquote comic, and then I'm not looking for that book anymore. But when I come back to the European comics, I don't want to brag or something, but there's more.
No, you guys
When-
deserve it. Like you
Yeah.
make stuff that are meant to last. Like with there's
Yeah.
so many comics that are like like insanely detailed, and it's all watercolor,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's like an A4 size or something, or
Yes.
bigger, and
Yeah,
we just I don't know why we don't do that here, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
here in Europe. We also went through a time period where comics were kind of dying out a little bit. It's yeah,
oh well.
both of us are just like you. That there was just a time that comics was for children and all that, and
No kidding.
everybody who was older than a certain age, then you were just childish and all that stuff. So there was a period where we both also lost interest in in comics, and we also just got back not so long ago, just like you mentioned earlier that you came back to comics during college. That's Europe did have its time period where things like that happened, that people just lost interest because of all the opinions around it actually.
Yeah.
But the comic scene seems to grow really fast at the moment, back up again from I think it was France that has one of the biggest European comic scenes right now. So
It does seem like I'm seeing a lot of French names pop up a lot, and
yes.
I get excited. I don't know about you guys, but there's this like a Euro manga kind of approach where
Yeah.
people are like I really dig that. Like it's clearly influenced from a particular Japanese style, and yet it's entirely its own now. It's so detached. It's not just one artist. It's people. It's kind of evolved to where now it can be its own thing, and you instantly when you see it, you're like, oh, that's from France. That's not from Japan. And that's kind of exciting to see that sort of blossoming where it can just kind of self-perpetuate this cool, fresh style that that no one else is doing, and yet still be kind of paying homage to its predecessors, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be one of the big differences between the European comics and the American comics, because in America, politics came in when people started to doubt certain things, and here in Europe, they just went back to what they knew worked. And the girl working with Billy Tucci on the World War II book, Miss Fury, she also said that there were several things here in Europe that she liked really much about what was coming back in comics that she didn't get the chance to do with companies like Marvel and DC and stuff like that, because it's all limited to what editors want you to do in America right now. And in Europe, she has much more freedom, she said. So,
is it true that I've been wanting to ask someone from Europe this for a while? Is it true that a lot of these publishing companies in Europe for comics, they're not owned by there's not like a comparable situation to where it is in America, where there's really two companies making most of the comics, and those two companies are owned by multimedia corporations that go several stages up to these multi-billion-dollar places that are just kind of farming it for IPs. The whole story. Like the impression I get is that there's just so many smaller companies in Europe, similar to anywhere else really, where they're all independent and they're all competing, and they're not kind of bought up and centralized under just a few mega firms. Is that the case?
Yeah, at least here in this part of Europe, we don't really have really big companies like that. We do have certain publishing houses, but it's more like uh, some people come together with an idea, they create it, and they start publishing it through that publishing house.
Oh,
But
that's
it's
nice.
not with. Oh, there goes Marines. He'll be back
Oh,
soon,
no.
I guess. But yeah, it's not really that everything goes through one big company and they own the rights and you just have to do what they want and all that. It's yeah, it's very, at least what I hear from the people that are yeah, in the professional comic scene here, over here. That's more like yeah, I can't really find the right word right now, but they uh, they have to, yeah, pitch a book or series they want, but it's not that it stays their own thing, you know.
That's amazing. Yeah. Yeah, I think as people, I don't know, maybe as we get more connected online and as the American comics industry kind of collapses somewhat, I think a lot of American fans of comics and creators of comics are going to look to Europe more as an example of what works, I think, because we can't necessarily, because part of the problem, I guess, in America is you can't merely just look backwards in American history to figure out how to handle the problems of today. I think with the industry, I don't, because we've kind of been kind of stuck, um, like it's kind of mostly been two companies, for 50 years at least. So I don't know. I feel like the way forward is more decentralization to increase, that competitive spirit where people really just kind of say, I want to make something. I'm passionate about this. I'm going to put together a small publishing place and then just make it work. That's a lot harder here, and it always has been harder here. And I think the way forward is looking across the Pacific to you guys, or maybe to Japan. I don't know, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
but what I understand from the way Marvel and DC and all that companies in America do things, they basically had one printer in the whole country and they had a contract with it. And if you went somewhere else, you had a problem with
yeah,
publishing and all that. So that way
yeah,
you kind of get stuck doing only things that some certain people want to do. Here in Europe, actually anything they think people might be interested in at least gets a shot these days.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Yeah,
I'm gonna look it up.
yeah,
Yeah, because the most Dutch comics are on just on the one banner or two banners maybe, and I'm not very familiar nowadays with Dutch comics or publishers from Dutch origin.
Yeah, in the Netherlands here at least, they have two publishing houses, but
Yeah.
also there's also a line of mostly one-shot comics based on history events that are published through educational ways. That I
sure.
actually have a few here.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna show it. Great. Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
here.
nice.
You have a comic about Michiel de Ruiter. That's one of the big heroes from the golden age of the Netherlands.
Oh, I love it.
I think when you spell that, Jeroen, Mac gets an heart attack when you spell the name. Because try to translate it or speak it from an American perspective. It's almost
Yeah,
impossible.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's just
it's
a lot of
it's
a lot of
an old
soft.
Dutch name, but
Yeah,
it's
well,
basically the man that created the Royal Dutch Navy as it is today. So a lot of tactics also came from him, and all over the world, navy strategic plans and all that came from what he did in that time. So
Oh my
it's
gosh, I want to buy that. That sounds awesome. Even if it's in Dutch, I'll just follow along with the pictures.
Yeah, it's this is the publishing house Euro Education. That's basically a line of a publishing house that only creates things that can be used for educational purposes. So books about World War II, or like this book, or a lot of people might be familiar with. The English translation is The Flying Dutchman.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of one shots, but they really that's one of the ways you can publish your books these days. If it has something of a historical value, they are very fast and open to ideas to you also get then you do get a contract that it will be distributed for a lower price to schools, etc. But you can publish it through them if it has an historical value.
This is the Chronicle of the Barbarians.
Wait, I'll make you a little bit bigger.
I love it.
Here.
Yeah, this is this is the hardcover, and this is the opening. Well, not the opening. It's just on the inside of the book. This is not loose pages, and then it comes the art. The art is, well, of course, very European. Let me see if I can.
Oh,
it's
nice.
Very detailed.
Oh wow!
So,
we don't do anything like this. It's amazing.
No, this is basically a story about Vikings invading church, and then look at this. Lots of nudity, lots of sex, lots of death and destruction, and ripping out guts and beheading in the most gruesome way. And it's about a coward monk, a young boy who gets accidentally be a prince of the Vikings. And because this guy, can I shoot it a little bit more? This guy has a helmet on and he's dying, and then he takes his place and then becomes the prince of the Vikings. It is, I believe, a 10 issue series. And also what I want to show you a little bit, this is probably my most favorite European comic. Unfortunately, this is not the cover of Don Lawrence, but this Storm.
Oh, neat.
I believe this is also an American draw and wrote this as well. It's called Don Lawrence. I urge you to look that up. He died years ago, and the last issue that he made is issue 21 or 22. And then some Dutch guy called Romano Molenaar has picked it up, and he continued the art. And the art is a very how do you say, watercolored and.
Oh wow! Yeah, I'm writing this down. This is amazing.
Yeah, and can I show a little bit more? Sure, why not? Give me a second.
Yeah, sure.
It's so funny because all this stuff I can see if American markets were exposed to this, that Americans would enjoy this, but they just don't know.
The funny thing is, on the other hand, the American market is also not very on the front here in Europe. So most of the big hero stories from America, I didn't grow up with Spider-Man and Batman and all that stuff, my first interaction with Batman was the movie trilogy, and Spider-Man just the same. And later on, I learned, hey, there are comics and there are other things about those characters.
No kidding.
Chase me back, Jeroen, to a smaller person.
A smaller person, wow. But yeah, we grew up with basically what he shows, but also the funny thing is, now I'm going to make myself a little bit bigger. We have
Yes,
series about the American Civil War that's
I've been collecting that.
basically
That's really
showing
good.
all over the world except in America.
Yeah.
It's,
I don't get it.
I have to buy that from a French company just to get it. Yeah.
here, it's-
Oh, isn't that? I love the ink work. It's like that 70s. It's so expressive.
yeah,
It's
but
gorgeous.
even though it's about war, it's also a lot of funny things in there. You know, that's
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's like a gag like every other page, and
but
it's like a
they
silly.
focus on very specific things from the American Civil War. That's it's a series of this is issue number 51 already, but there are
Yeah, the blue
more than
coats. Right?
70 books by now. So that's actually very funny, at least to me, that we don't grow up with the American books, but we do grow up with the American history that the Americans don't get to read. Unless
Yeah.
you know French or Spanish or Dutch. But
Yeah.
Jeroen, can you? I want to show just one thing. Speaking of European comics, just give me a second.
okay. In a little bit we'll also move on to the Kyrie campaign itself to talk about that a little bit because it's still in demand. And
one book.
yes,
This is an old one.
here we go.
Oh no.
This is
Yes,
from the
that's the right
70s.
button.
This is more like a.
A
It's
note.
not really a children's book, but this is from.
Writing this down.
Let me double check. 1977, almost mint condition. This is more like a about a dwarf who has a. You can see the art is very cartoonish. It's very European.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
we both recognize the European style of drawing also in your book. So
Donald Duck. It's a monthly comic or weekly comic
Oh,
that
wow.
it's great as well. It's very funny. Well, that's it. That's one I show. Let's go on.
No, yeah. I think there's something to I don't know if you guys know the Rainbow Orchid by Garen Ewing. It's the Adventures of Julius Chaucer.
No?
It's kind of Lean Claire, like an English version of Lean Claire. I think it was about 10 years ago that he was putting them out. He had like kind of 3 albums of that, and then he took a break, and I think he's trying to get back into it. When I picked
Really?
that up, I think you guys would really dig it. It's like 1920s, and like a British kid, they trek across the Himalayas, and they discover like it's like a supernatural artifact journey sort of thing. It was a big inspiration for Kyrie, and it was when I saw that and I realized it's not just Tintin or Asterix. Like, people are making this stuff today, and I can get this stuff on Amazon, and social media. You can go find these artists. You can ask them about these things about 10 or so years ago. That's when I realized, I need to get on this, because people are still making great comics. Of course, it's not just the things you grew up on. There's so many people are taking that and moving it forward. They're carrying the ball forward, as we say.
But to be honest, I think this is a brave decision that you do this comic with the European thought behind it on an American market. Because
it's a risk.
it's a big risk, but the first campaign was successful, right? It gained masses and people loved it, I think.
Yeah, it was successful. I got good reviews, and I think I might have been too loose for some people, so I've tightened things up for book 2, and trying to explain more.
What do you mean with that?
I think, and particularly for Americans, they're used to a lot of rendering, and they don't want kind of silly, flowy line work. They want it to kind of feel more tied down, which I can respect. So I'm trying to find more of a balance for both. this time around, and also just realizing that you can't really. I mean, it's practical things like shipping costs are make things prohibitive to a lot of Europeans to invest in these things. So this time I had the idea to draw everyone original art who comes from overseas to hopefully make it, it's still a bigger price, than what you could get at your local shop, but at least you're getting original art with it. So maybe it makes it worth it this time.
Yeah.
And
I like the
I'm
books
getting
as well.
more Europeans buying it this time around, which is exciting.
Yeah. Hey, Jeroen, can you show the page again if you want? Because I wanted
Yes,
to.
I already have it standing by.
So you make it very cheap, right? Because you do it everything
Yeah.
yourself, from writing to drawing to creating the whole process. How was that like, by the way? I mean, you're doing it all yourself. What is there a reason that you wanted to do it all yourself, or just don't trust the other people to do your work, or what is that?
Well, I guess it came from the time when I was really interested in getting back into comics seriously as an adult, and seeing a lot of people do it. It seemed like I know the Marvel DC approach is to bring in almost as many people as you can into the team, and that's what makes it legitimate. Is we got a big team, so it's serious now, But the indie or the Europe, I don't know, outside of the US, it seems like it's really serious when it's one guy putting it all together, because he must be passionate. He's so crazy. He's doing it all, So, and also it makes it cheaper, so that's good.
Because for us, maybe for the shipping's cost, but the book itself, or the books 1 and 2, it's extremely cheap for us. I mean, normally we have to pay for a normal Indiegogo campaign, exclusive, well, not shipping costs included, like $25 approximately for 48 to 60 pages or something. And then you come along and say, you know what, we're going to make a lot of pages for very cheap. And then what?
Yeah, when I told him, he was like, no way.
Yeah,
people don't do that.
I was really surprised, and then I was more surprised about the quality, because your art style is a little bit flowy, but it complements not only the style of what you are going for in the story, but also the color, because your colors is well, for this kind of book, perfect, because when you go into that sandy location like Egypt or wherever it is, I mean, it represents, like this one. I mean, there's a lot of beautiful coloring and shading here that people can miss. And they can say, well, you know what? This is not the style that I like, because when it comes to facial features or something, but that is not the only one thing for me anyway, where the detail lies. The detail lies for me is in the whole picture, the vistas, the coloring, the composition. That's what I really like.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I think I think a brighter, colorful style kind of works with the flowy lines more. I guess I've been trying to make sure it feels cohesive in that way,
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a challenge. People have remarked that, when a lot of these campaigns are for, like you said, like maybe a 48-page book and it's $25, it's understandable that they're having to take that approach if they have a bigger team and they're hiring different people. And it can make my campaign look cheap, like in a quality sense, because it's like, well, this is only 20, it's not worth very much to me to invest. There can be a perception issue. So part of the thing I'm trying to do is I know that I'm not a big YouTuber or something, and it's hard to convince people to take a risk on me where it might feel like it's easier with other people. So because they get to know them a lot more from their channels and things like this. So I think a lower price point was one way for me to say, well, I'm you may not know me as well, but at least the book is cheaper and you can see all these pages, so you can make a decision about quality for yourself. But trying to pass savings on to other people,
I like this shot, really cool. this takes me back to the whole Asterix kind of
Yeah.
with the facial expressions
Yeah.
as well. But hey, welcome.
Yeah.
This is we are here. Welcome to our village or something. It's great. And also the different colors of the word balloons. It strikes me that it feels like you're setting the tone with the colors of the balloons as well. When it's dark, the balloon's color is also darker.
Yeah.
Like
It's like here in the red and with the browns. Like here, this is very dark and very red, but your word balloons is always red. But it doesn't hinder it, in my opinion. It just adds more layers to it. For me, anyway. Was that a
Yeah.
conscious decision that you go to those different color schemes with the word balloons? Is it the mood that you were trying to set when it comes to night or day or particular settings?
Yeah, I'd seen some people play around with like maybe more pastel colors with
Yeah.
word balloons, but they were trying out colors, and I liked the idea of it kind of adds like an accent to the different characters. They're speaking with a particular color associated with their word balloons, and I can generate like the main Roman antagonist guy, Valerian, and his son Gallienus. They both have they're similar in the blue green color, so you can associate in their head when they're talking that they're coming from a particular background in this weird diverse world. And then you see Myra and you see Marcus here, and he's talking in more of a red and she has more of a pink. And so you can establish a connection with them, and yet and also it was kind of it's me trying to solve a particular challenge that a lot of people there's many ways to overcome it. This is the way I was trying to overcome it, where if a character is speaking off panel and you can't see who is speaking, oftentimes it can be kind of, you maybe have to read the previous panel again to say, okay, I guess this would be the person who's saying this. And you could immediately tell if it was film or something because you could hear the voice, right? But this allows you to hear the voice of the person speaking, so that off panel, it's like you might not be conscious of it, but you can tell like, oh, this is the same person who's been talking, whether I see them or not, because it's the same color. I think it helps with narrative flow.
Yeah.
Can you follow it a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Like here as well with the here's with the blues and then with the different color. I really like that.
Here's the blue again.
Yeah, it's funny because I guess when it's big teams again, like lettering is its own art, of course, but it really is. It's part of the whole composition, right? It's the final product isn't final until it's got the word balloons. So if I'm pushing color with this comic, like why not think about compositions in light of these pinks and blues and reds that I'm playing with? Why not have that be part of the composition, So I kind of think it kind of adds to it. Well, like you can see all these purples here, but then you've got the reds and the pinks on top, and it's kind of makes it's more interesting to the eye than just white and black all the time. I think that's where comics can kind of die sometimes, when it's just white and black, but you have all this color in the art, but you're not taking advantage of an opportunity to have fun with the balloons. But
not only that, but what strikes me particularly is that when you use, let's say, comic backgrounds, right? Mostly it's all white or black. You doing brown, if I see that correctly, from the whole background, with the borders. It's like I said, you're doing so much different than what American comics or creators are doing. That your book, for me, stands out a lot on this on Indiegogo. So I'm very curious how this is progressing, because there's a part 3 coming, right, after this one.
Yes. And I'll let you know some interesting things for 2021. So I'm a little managing getting the first book fulfilled and then jumping straight into launching the second campaign and getting all that ready has put me, I maybe have about 50 pages done of book 3 so far. And the plan was, ideally, it's nice to launch a new campaign as soon as you fulfill, so that people have a chance to, kind of reinvest once they see your product and they read it and they enjoy it. Hopefully they say, where's the next one? Oh, there it is right there. But because it's taking a bit longer to make book 3, in between now and then, I'm hiring some artists, some amazing artists that do really cool European styles that I think you guys would really like, to do short stories, and then do like a tales, like a Kyrie tales kind of side story things, where you feature maybe some characters, maybe like one of them is Myra in a chariot race for a dozen pages, and one is another character we haven't seen kind of doing something in the world, so it just kind of gives you like stuff that we don't have time to make a full 150 page book about. But I don't know, like a lot of, again, like the European kind of stuff where you get these monthly books where it's a whole bunch of different stories kind of put together, and every issue is a surprise. So I'm going to be doing that.
Like the Chronicles off.
Yeah. So there's I think there's a lot of chances there for people to have fun, and I'm going to be coloring these pages, but we're just getting different inks, basically, different illustrators to kind of take it and do their own thing and be creative. And mostly I'm writing the stories too, so there's still canon and everything, but we're going to offer that super cheap. It's really going to be a few dollars to print them, so it's going to be a few dollars to sell them.
I think it's going to be a great way for to expand the universe of Kyrie. If this is going to be the main book, and you do the side stories as well, introducing maybe new characters or villains, and maybe new worlds to see, that could possibly work. Yeah, absolutely.
Like that. Yeah. So that's going to get, we'll officially announce that soon, and probably, I was hoping to just print them and then sell them on my website here, but it sounds like a lot of people, and it's understandable, but I'm learning a lot about what people's expectations are, and I think a lot of people do prefer a crowdfunding campaign, even when they're not necessary. They still enjoy the idea of investing upfront in a product and helping it get launched and get put off the ground, and there's a lot of excitement when you see the number get big and you get the updates. Something you can't really do just by putting a link on my website here and just say, okay, you can buy
and
it.
it also is the little bit of a personal connection between the creator and the backer. That's the same thing that you see with Ethan van Sciver came with the idea of monthly subscriptions a few days ago. Yeah, and he did a stream with Peter Scimetti.
I was listening to
I think, and the first thing he said was, "This is not for you at this time." It was a lot of people were already saying like, "I want you to draw it" and all that. But Peter Scimetti also said to Ethan van Sciver, like, you have this personal connection with most of your backers, that when you lose that because you come in the grind of pushing out those stories and you keep working and working, you don't have the time for the marketing, the campaigning, and the personal connection with your backers gets lost, and you will lose a lot of backers because of it.
Yeah. Which we're just, we have to respect. It was neat to see him kind of change his mind over that stream, which just shows that he really is interested in not just pursuing, he doesn't have like some vision that he's just going to force onto his backers. He really wants to do what backers want. And it does look like that's probably not the way to go. So I probably will crowdfund this, but it'll be cheap. It'll be like a lot of your boy Zach's stuff where, you can really buy it for $10 or less kind of stories.
And it's also special when it comes out in about a certain period, like, like every half year or something, or that you do do 2 or 3 books a year. It makes it really, for me anyway, like you're getting it in your mailbox, right? For me anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
And everyone gets it at the same time, so we can all kind of celebrate together on Twitter or elsewhere. That's special, you know. You start seeing all the pictures of people saying, "Look what came in the mail today," and you do kind of lose that with print on demand.
Yeah.
And of
Yeah.
course, with the campaigning and all that, you also see people interested in your project, and they come to you, have questions, and like what Marinus and I did a lot as well in the past few months since we found Kyrie. Is people start to promote your project for you, you know, sharing it, talks like this on YouTube. People start talking about it because they are interested, because there's also that personal component in the campaigning.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of people getting invested and contributing, if you scroll down just a little bit on the site.
Yes.
I made it too big, so it's hard to tell that this is originally there.
Cool.
If you click the image on the right, with the
Yes.
So I had like 6 people interested in this, and because of this, I only had 3 characters, but I got 6 people interested. So I'm just gonna make 6 characters now.
Okay.
And
a little
almost
bigger
everyone-
band of thieves.
Yeah, and everyone wants to be an archer, so I'm gonna have to write. I'm gonna do
It's his
that.
favorite as well. It's his favorite as well. Yeah.
Yes, he knows.
Yeah, and which
Matt-
is exciting. So now people they've chosen for me to write a story where the band of thieves, it's a bigger band, and most of them are archers. So now I get to set up a scenario where they're hunting down our heroes, and you know, the game, the scheme they have is really like a an archer based scenario. They're not just going to come in and try and fight them. They're really going to try and pin them down with bows and arrows and take him out from a distance, which actually kind of makes sense with the story, especially with Marcus and his powers. That it's a cool scenario. So I'm adjusting the story and adding to the art to not just put everyone's likeness for just is $45. I'll draw you into the comic, but also I'm going to change the story so that all you guys are working together to use your archery skills to try and take Marcus down. So that's fun.
And Marinus and I talked about that as well. It's very cheap to get drawn into a book because the campaigns that you usually see on Indiegogo, then you talk about basically a few $100 for one, to get drawn into somewhere, and sometimes even up to 1,000. So
it's not that's. I can understand how they're able, if I had a famous comic, then maybe it would be worth more or something. But at the end of the day, it's free for any artist to draw someone in a comic. Like, it doesn't cost money; it just costs a bit of time, And if I'm not famous, it's just nice to give back. It's the same reason I'm doing original art for you guys for backing, because original art's free for me to do. That's something I can do that. Some things do cost money, like bookmarks or magnets or those sort of things, or print quality costs money, but original art costs me nothing. It just costs me some markers and some papers. So it's the least I can do.
We haven't addressed that, right? Because for people in America, for USA, it's free shipping, right? And then for European backer or outside America, then you do a free sketch of their own choosing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because it's great, and so it doesn't matter what they want. You just draw it. So it's up to them. From, hey, Matt, I'm from Europe or somewhere else, and I want you to draw this for me. You're gonna try to do that. right?
Yeah. And I know it's cheap again, and people tend to think when something is offered this cheap, it's so hard with art. Like, how do you put a dollar value on art? And I know that some people are like, well, if it's this cheap, if he's just giving it away, it's not worth anything.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I think that at least the backers, it might not sell people on buying.
Mhm.
You know, like people who are on the fence, they might not buy it just because of the art. But if they are buying it, they at least feel, I hope people can tell that I at least appreciate them. And this is me showing that I appreciate them.
Yes, for
I
sure.
appreciate it a lot. Hey, Jeroen, can you go back a page a little bit, because there's probably more that I wanted to see or ask. Can you scroll a
The
little bit
characters,
down?
I think. This is as low as it goes. So.
Yeah, well, the characters
Yeah,
are
those
really
are
nice.
early designs, and you can see I was even more of that Franco-Belgian kind of approach. I was just buying lots of books and looking at them a lot, so you can see what these characters used to look like.
Yeah.
Well, not bad. And this, is there on your let's go back a little bit to your Indiegogo page. Is there a perk that you want to extra promote, that you say, you know what, that is what people should back? This is the best perk that you can get at this point?
Yeah. The first campaign we did a lot of different kinds of perks, and this time we're trying. This is like the poster campaign. So we hired many artists who do really excellent work to do different posters, and I think people will really dig them. We found a really neat way to roll them up and have them be safe in shipping, and it's really cool stuff. Like Matt Cosson did that one, and we got really cool colors on that as well. That's one that I did, and yeah, we got Omar Casanova who did this one.
Yeah, love
For this one, is also the original art available. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we have
cheap as
that.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's incredible. It's so there's a $45 tier that gets you 3 posters and 2 books, and both books together that's 280 pages, I think, of story of book content. Maybe 270 of story.
About
and,
that, I think. Yes.
And 3 posters. So I think that's pretty good. And then yeah, just the featured is just $20 gets you. If you buy book 2, you get the poster too.
That is this poster.
Yes, that's Tommy Graphite. He contributes a lot to Drawn and Quartered Nights. He just kind of drew it and just showed it to me, and I was like, wow, that's so nice. Can I buy it? So I bought it. I was like, can I make a poster of that? And he said, yeah. So I bought it from him, and I colored it. So
I like that.
So you get a poster.
Okay, and one of the posters was also recolored. I saw on Twitter, right? One that you did first, and then someone else recolored it or something.
Yeah, I colored Matt Cosson's, and then I wasn't. I liked it a lot, but I felt like maybe someone could do a slightly better job. So I got the guy who was working on what's it called? War Campaign's book.
Vestige.
Yeah, Vestige. Yeah, he was with where everything's like kind of hot and cool kind of colors, and I kind of dig it. So I thought, well, let's get, and he had a very reasonable price, so I thought, let me just hire him. And it was like the same week that he got
Lewis, right?
What's up?
Jason Lewis, right?
Yes. Yeah. So he was coming off of working on Vestige 2, and I just thought, well, I like his stuff, and I think some other people might. So I thought I would offer that. I only had one person. You can get either my version or his. I only had one person ask, hey, can I compare the two? Can you send me pictures again of what they look like? And they still went with Lewis's here. So I think he did a slightly better job. But
And
you get
this
to pick.
is the Lewis version, right?
Yes.
And the small one you see here, that is your version, I think.
Yes. I wish I could
Okay.
update the little thumbnails, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, you. This is what you see in Vestige as well. I think I can zoom in a little. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
you can tell it
also
has that
colors
vestige.
a little bit around the line art.
Yeah.
It's you can really recognize his coloring. It's
Yeah.
yeah, and very shiny, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah, and
it's a lot of fun to just give people. That's probably where I got the idea to do these short issues in the next few months. Is just getting other people to kind of contribute and do their own sort of thing, and interpret it in their own way. That's kind of what the posters have kind of shown me. That I think people like to see other artists take on characters that they know and do interesting new things with them. So.
Yeah, this is
this
a great
poster
one.
is only available as a separate perk, right?
Yes, but it is an add-on perk as well, and you
Oh.
get. I think there's a cheaper. I think there's a discount when you add it on. So.
Oh, cool.
Okay. And yeah, of course, here is book
I
2.
love it. I absolutely love it.
It's,
Thanks, guys.
yeah,
They're
I
working
think-
hard.
Yeah, because you
Yeah,
are
for sure.
printing soon. I saw on your updates. You're gonna go to print soon. I mean, or
Yes, it's already it's printed and it's
Oh, really?
most of the way to the States from Korea right now. So just at the end of the month, maybe in really in 2 weeks, I think
Yeah.
it should arrive, and then it spends a week in customs, and then after that, I'll be fulfilling. So
So in about a month, you start fulfilling.
yeah, and I'm hoping I have everyone's original art drawn by then. I'm I'm trying to draw every other night, draw some art for people,
Okay.
for international people. But
Please
yeah,
ship to
yeah,
Euro-
we should
please
be.
ship to Euro first. Please ship to Euro first.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, what he is saying that a lot of American creators ship to Europe last, so our shipping time is much longer. And
Way longer. Yeah.
yeah, and sometimes
Oh, no.
a package takes up to 16 days to 3 months sometimes. So
Yeah.
Oh,
and
let's
then
not
you
do that.
you have American, especially the books that are really successful. If they are on the edge of getting late, they ship the American books first, and then we have to wait until they have shipped almost everything else, and
Is
then
that
we have
true,
to
or is
wait
that a
for the
speculation?
ship itself.
Is that true, Jeroen, or is that a speculation?
No, that's true.
Oh,
okay.
I bet they're putting off just because of the higher. Maybe they're not budgeting how much
Yeah.
things cost very well. A lot of these guys are having trouble with their postage prices, and maybe they're
Yeah.
thinking, I'd rather just handle 30 books in the U.S. and pay $4 each than have to deal with, you got to fill out a little customs card for each international person, and
Yeah.
costs $26 or more here. Maybe they're just avoiding that price tag. But I'll do European first. I was thinking I was actually going to pile up everything in my spare room, everything packed up, and then mail them all the same day, so that everyone's,
Yeah.
But if that doesn't work out, I'll just do international first, because everything's already taken care of. I've been good with the books, good with the numbers, so I won't be
Yeah.
delaying. We'll be
Usually
avoiding.
it's not really a problem because there are also a lot of creators that just fulfill in the order that they get the orders in. But yeah, some creators actually do America, and then you already see all the reviews and all that, and then you see on Twitter, now I'm starting the international shipping, and then you think like, what? Seriously?
Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, I don't know why. They do
You
that.
can't tell them what to do, right? But yeah, it sucks them.
we both ways we have to wait a little longer, but
A little. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Hey,
It
you don't.
of course has to ship all around the world, so yeah.
Yeah.
But
Can you, Jeroen, can you show the perks? I mean the stretch goals because
yes, I think it was
it's
Yeah.
not
below
really
I hope
the
I've
art.
updated
important, I
them.
think. Yeah, because you did some stretch goals that I really like. Oh wait, Jeroen, your favorite picture. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
This
This
one.
one? Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the coloring in this. Yeah,
Pastel. Yeah. It
yeah,
is.
it really jumped out at me right when I saw it. So
Yeah, it's beautiful. And the next one also really, yeah, it's great.
yes,
I like
Yeah,
this one.
those are some of my favorite pages.
yeah. This is
And it
a
looks really
double
good in print. I can attest. People have wondered, can you kind of transfer the color quality? Does it still feel bright and colorful in print? And I can promise you that it looks really good. I'm really pleased. I have 2 copies of book 2 that were airmailed from Korea, and they're both exceptional. So you're going to be really pleased with the colors.
I like the
Yeah.
vistas that you do, also with the scene with the boat. I think you do. Yeah, you do have a way with vistas and surroundings. I really like that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm not sure if I can find it.
I believe there was some with a boat, a scene. Maybe it's not in here. Well, maybe it was maybe a picture of the updates. I don't remember, but yeah. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. It's looking great anyway.
Well, there's
Yeah,
there's some books in, well, there's boats in book 1 and there's boats in book 3. I might have shown some stuff a little bit from book 3.
Maybe I was confused with book 1. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it was the video that we saw a few days ago that you were checking the proof copy.
Exactly, that could be it. And this is also cool, right? Because this here is a map, and that's the inside of the book. Am I right?
Yes.
The inside cover.
Yeah, I had to. Not a lot of printers will let you do this. They don't usually like to get too specific with weird orders, but I got them to print inside cover, doing like a cool thing where there's flaps, kind of like a hardcover book that has. It's not hardcover, but it feels hardcover because it's like a thick, soft cover book, and then it has flaps, and then inside the flaps and inside the cover is this map that stretches across.
Wow.
Both sides of the book, and it's like an adventure map of, like, almost like a Lord of the Rings sort of fantasy map of North Africa, which I think is fun. So you can kind of pick out places that you might know about from history or something, but it has a feel that's larger than life.
Where's the treasure? Where is
Yeah.
it?
It's also really complementing the era of the book.
Yeah.
The art style of the map itself. I mean.
Yeah. We're going to travel all across that map before we're done with Kyrie, which is fun too. So there's kind of like a dotted line with an X near Alexandria on the right, and as we go across through 4 books, you're going to watch that dotted line with the X kind of go farther and farther across, which is going to be fun to track. So
yeah.
Okay,
and yeah, there are more stretch goals. So
sticker deluxe
and the spot gloss cover. In the video you mentioned, I'll go up a little bit to show it here. The letters and the banner were going to be spot gloss, you said in the video, right?
yes, and we have that. It looks really nice.
Okay, yeah, I have seen things like that before, so I think the Lucent was going to do that as well. So that
Oh,
it
really?
seems
Yeah.
to get a little more into what they
I
are
love
doing
that.
with crowdfunded comics.
It's probably the most expensive perk you can do for the book.
Yeah,
It's
it's
more
two kinds
expensive
of
than
printing, right?
Yeah, and they have to make like a special little kind of, I think it's kind of like a stamp sort of thing that's only used for your book, and then they throw it away.
Oh,
And someone has to kind of carve it too and machine it with metal so that it fits the shape that you want spot glossed. So in order to do that, they have to charge you like many hundreds of dollars.
Okay.
But we're able to do it, so it looks really
Awesome.
nice. It's worth it.
Yeah.
awesome. And then what do we have here? Are those bookmarks? Yes.
Yes.
Great. Favorite archer?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, and these will be the photo doesn't show it, but I bought a laminator and they're laminated so they last, and yeah, nice and durable.
Yeah. Do we have more, Jeroen?
Yes, of course. I think. Yeah, this is not achieved yet.
Yeah, we weren't able to afford we weren't able to afford cam, unfortunately, at least this time.
Looks great. Absolutely great.
And there'll be more in the stuff that I haven't even put up here. Some surprises. A really cool postcard by an old friend who kind of took the characters and put them in like 1880s British archaeologist clothing, kind of going
Cool.
through a pyramid and finding some mummies. I think you'll like the art with that. And it's got like gold ink on it and things. It's really nice. And
Yeah, you're going all out, man.
a magnet and stuff. So it'll be like a little party when you get the package finally and you open it up. Lots of good things.
Yeah, because I know also this artist, Elia Fernandez, he's doing Doom Kicker, right? On Indiegogo too.
Yeah.
It's also a great looking book.
Okay.
Yeah, he's incredible. But I guess
Yeah.
I did kind of ask, not to throw shade at all, because I like him as a person, but I think the impression I was getting over the course of the campaign is that people don't. This sounds mean, but it's just how the market is.
Yeah.
Like
I know what you mean.
if someone's late with their campaign, they're not particularly excited. Even if the art is great, they don't particularly want a poster by someone who has a late campaign. So I have to respect that. So even if I were to be able to afford them, I should probably find a different artist going forward, just to I don't know, give him room to work on his book to fulfill. Once he fulfills, maybe I can hire him and then it'll be fine. But
Yes.
Nice. So this is the complete package that you are gonna get, or people are gonna get.
yeah, with the but with the poster as well, and and then with original art for you guys.
Great. And what's that on the right side? Is that a sticker?
It's a magnet.
Oh, cool.
Like a
And we
shield.
also like the seal kind of thing around the book. So with especially Kyrie.
So it kind of it's like a personal touch, where it just kind of wraps I put everything together and then I wrap it on the outside with this seal with the gold stamp on it, so that it that that I'm thankful.
See the laminated
Wait,
here.
on the right side.
You can a little bit see that this is laminated indeed. So yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's coming through.
I love the value, man. Like you said, there's a lot of value. Indeed, it is. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole book, what's inside of the book as well, with the map, with the art, with the colors, and then all the these nifty little things that you can get for extras. That's great.
Yeah, we are both really looking forward to reading it. So.
Oh, absolutely.
So fun. I look forward to your honest feedback.
Yeah, we are planning on doing a review about it. So.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you said you were on your lunch break.
Oh,
Do
really?
you? Yeah, that are your both
About an
books.
hour now.
So,
Wow, this looks
uh,
great.
is there something you want to add yourself? Say something to the viewers, or
Oh, just I've had a lot of fun chatting with you guys. I'm going to be sharing this video out because I think it's been a really fun chat, and I think
yeah,
you
for
guys
sure.
understand the sort of the thing I'm trying to do here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank
So
you.
it's nice to talk to folks that understand that particular aesthetic and approach to comic storytelling that I really think a lot of Americans they would like if they knew it was here, you know.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
just trying to do my part. But yeah, thanks for chatting with me. It's been a
Yes, of
real
course.
pleasure. Do it
Yeah,
again
it's a
anytime,
pleasure
you
as
know.
well. Yeah, thanks
Once,
for coming, Matt. We really appreciate that here.
yeah, once you guys
Yes.
get the books, let's chat again, and I can hear. You can kind
Absolutely.
of critique it live if you like.
Sure.
Yes, for sure. Yes, for everyone that watched it, of course, like and subscribe to Matt on YouTube and on Twitter. Also, Marinus and me, of course. And if you like the book, definitely check out the Indiegogo campaign. It's in the description. Also, Matt's website that we showed. You can still probably get in on the book if there's a place. So you know where to
Free
find
shipping
that.
to America. Free shipping.
Yes.
Zero money. Buy it.
Or of course the custom drawing for the international backers. So check it out. Buy Kyrie, of course, and we hope to see you another time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.